Thank you for joining us and welcome to everyone. For several years, we at Pepito Live have been producing programs focused on the process of moving to Costa Rica and obtaining legal residencies in this beautiful country. Along the way, our audience have shared their views and concerns, and we've strived to address these matters with transparency in a very constructive manner. But in recent months, we've observed a growing trend of feedback concerning the pace and efficiency of the immigration process here in Costa Rica. As individuals compare our timeline to the swift visa and residency approvals of neighboring countries, a sense of discontent is clearly emerging. This sentiment is expressed among future expats who now feel less welcome in the vibrant embrace of pura vida. Furthermore, there's a growing sentiment that some attorneys may not be fulfilling their responsibilities properly, prompting some individuals to consider some alternative options. To delve into this very important issue, we have taken the initiative of inviting not one, but several well-known immigration lawyers of Costa Rica. This is the first time a group of Costa Rican lawyers will participate in an English language panel discussion, which obviously is not their native language. So all participating lawyers have accepted our invitation, stressing that their objective is not to assign blame to any individual within the immigration department or the Costa Rican government. But my research reveals that the Immigration Department of Costa Rica is currently staffed with only 4 employees. And those 4 employees are currently responsible of processing 250,000 refugee applications. And furthermore, thousands of applications for legal residency have been filed since the last international pandemia. So some people are saying that the immigration department is stressed. Others are saying that the department would even be on the verge of collapsing. So before we start, it's important to note that each lawyer participating in this program today is speaking on his own behalf based on his own professional experience as an immigration lawyer in Costa Rica. Please note that comments will be welcome during the program. And in the latter part of the show, we will allow some questions that are not related to specific cases or individuals because of privacy issues. So without any further delay, I'm delighted to welcome everyone and introduce our panel of esteemed immigration lawyers whose experience range from 12 to 30 years in helping people getting residency here in Costa Rica. So now, amigos, let's start immediately with a roundtable and ask some of our great guests to introduce themselves tonight. So we are going to start with Laura Chavarria. Could you tell us a little bit about you, Laura?
Hi, well, thank you very much, Pepito, for this space tonight. I'm so glad to share this space with my colleagues. Well, I'm the founder of a firm called Immigration CR. I got around 20 years of experience in immigration, and well, I'm really proud to be tonight with you guys. So I hope this forum tonight will answer a lot of questions that you might have.
Thank you, and very much welcome to the show. The next person we're going to ask to introduce herself is going to be Marcela Gurdian. Marcela, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Pepito, for this opportunity. Thank you, colleagues, for being part of this specific show. It is an important occasion to inform foreigners about the actual situation. I am president and founder of Immigration Expert, and I have been a lawyer, immigration lawyer, for 30 years, but I don't look old, okay?
Thank you, Marcela, and welcome to the show again. And next, we're going to be going to Mariana. Mariana, could you tell us a little bit about you?
Well, good night, everyone. Thank you for this space. I'm very glad to join you and to talk about the situation with immigration. I have been working with Cordero y Cordero for the past 16 years. I'm a partner with the firm, and I've worked with immigration process for the past 13 years. So we're here to address the situation and answer the questions that you may have. Thank you for the space.
So, and the next person we're going to be going to is Margarita.
Hi, good night to everybody. Thanks, Pepito, for the space we're sharing. As for our colleagues, it's very important to have this space in order to explain a little bit about all this current situation. I am the director of Nomad Immigration Services, and I'm also an associate in Tactic Legal Studio. So thank you for the space.
Thank you and welcome. And next, we're going to go to Natalie Blau.
Hello, good evening. Thank you, Pepito, for this opportunity and the public that is with us tonight here in Costa Rica. My name is Natalie Blau. I am a lawyer in the director of the immigration department at Lexington, and I have 7 years experience in immigration law.
Thank you very kindly. And now we are going to go to our next guest tonight. And this next person is going to be Sebastian.
Hi, everyone. Thank you very much for the opportunity. I am very pleased to be with this panel of experts. This is the top of the tops in Costa Rica when it comes to immigration. My name is Sebastian Alvarado. I am the director of the immigration department with Sfera Legal. And we really hope you guys enjoy the show tonight.
Thank you. And last but not least, let's go to Vanessa. Hola, Vanessa, can you hear us? Okay. Vanessa, can you hear us? I think we have maybe a hearing issue with Vanessa. So I think she cannot hear us for some reason. So let's move on. Maybe someone can send maybe a message to Vanessa and she could double check maybe her connection. And I can hear, but I can't see what she says. But we could see her, but we can't hear her. Maybe it would be a good idea for her to maybe tune out and then re-enter the studio. That may be the solution for our friends. So, amigos, let's start immediately with the first questions. We have a lot of interesting questions tonight. So without any further delay, let's go to our first question just to make sure we could move on. So the question number one we have is a very important question. What exactly is happening at immigration and what is the actual situation? And we have Vanessa is supposed to be talking on that, but also Marcela. Maybe Marcela, you would want to start on that?
Yes, of course, Pepito. Okay, so as you introduced us, we are a group of immigration lawyers. Today we are 7, but in fact we are 14 lawyers, immigration lawyers, and we are trying to help immigration to find a solution because they are suffering, for me, the worst crisis in 20 years. As everybody knows, I used to work for immigration. They in the past they had a delay, but now they have a huge delay. So after pandemic, everybody wants to apply for residency. Everybody wants to move to Costa Rica. So that's why they got like an avalanche of files, and they have just a few employees. As you were mentioning, they have around 250 100,000 files for refugee status and only 4 people to check on the files. And for other type of residency, we have thousands of files. We cannot mention a specific number because they don't even know how many files they have pending, and they have less than 20 people to check on the files. And the foreigners, they are anxious to get an answer, but immigration, it's impossible for them to face this situation. So we as a group, we are trying to find a solution to help immigration, because the lack of human resources, the lack of, they are not applying the law to simplify the process. They complicate every single step. So that's why there are so many files pending of resolution. We have many clients not really happy because of the situation, but we want to inform the situation so that the foreigner is relaxed in Costa Rica, because this is it's a crisis because everybody wants to move to Costa Rica, Pepito. Vanessa can talk a little bit more about details because also the lack of budget from the government. So Vanessa, maybe you can address more.
Hello, hello, and Vanessa, and welcome to the show. And you want to take a few minutes here to introduce yourself?
Thanks, Pepito. Good evening, everybody. My name is Vanessa Leandro. I'm the founder partner of NBC Legal, 30 years of experience in the field. I love immigration issues. I have worked with immigration all over the world. Now it's time to put this experience at the service of my country. We're happy to have you guys here in Costa Rica, and we're going to try to do our best explaining the current situation that you guys are all complaining about with good reason. Thank you, Marce. I would add up to what you just mentioned, just to frame the situation that immigration authorities are facing. For those ones living a little bit longer in our country, probably you have heard about the what is called the fiscal reform that our country has been applying since 2019. Specifically, how this reform has been affecting our field. Well, in general terms, the government has forbidden the creation of new posts in order not to avoid the enlargement of the public apparatus of the country, which it was completely overspending. I don't want to go into those details, but what is actually relevant for us, what has happening regarding immigration is that every single post that is needed has not been created. And for those when retiring for whatever reason, because they are ready to apply for the pension and go and have vacation for the rest of their lives, those posts are not being replaced. So yes, that just like Marcela explained, initially we were informed that there were like 19 officers devoted to assess refugee residency, in this case, residency claims. And but those places have not been replaced. They have proved to be insufficient. And along with that, what you guys know more than we do, the increasing demand of services before the immigration. There's maybe the demand has doubled, if not tripled, and immigration was not ready to respond to this. The more evident result of this is that the law, initially, a law that also has to be taken into consideration, was drafted more than 10 years ago, was given immigration 3 months to reply to every single claim. And now, 10, 12 years later, it's been proved that it is impossible, practically impossible to immigration to respond within 3 months. We constantly discuss among all the firms represented in this panel, which is a pleasure to share this panel with the best colleagues of the country in the immigration field. And we've been informed systematically that the response of immigration for a first resolution when qualifying or assessing an investment residency, it's an average of 1.5 years to receive the first resolution. And we're not discussing if we get warned or if we receive a warning, which is a resolution issued by the immigration telling us that we need to clarify certain parts of the claim, or we have to adapt new requirements. But in general terms, that's the situation. It's an institution completely understaffed, that it was not ready to respond to this new demand of thousands of people who wants to live in Costa Rica. Everybody's welcome to our country, but it's very important that you understand this kind of situation, that it has a direct impact on the life of all you guys.
Thank you very
Pepito,
kindly.
Pepito, I would like to add something else,
Go
especially
ahead.
investors in Costa Rica. Every foreigner owner of a property in Costa Rica now, they know the importance of having the residency because of what happened during pandemic. They were not allowed to enter Costa Rica. So now every foreigner owner of a property wants residency in Costa Rica. It's good for us, Pepito, because Costa Rica is becoming a very desired place to move, but immigration is not prepared because they don't have sufficient employees and they don't have the budget. That's it.
So the next question here, number 2, is what are the ways and delays, normal delays to get residency in Costa Rica? This is a very popular question, and that goes to Laura Chavarria.
Okay, well, thank you, Pepito, again. Thanks for my colleagues to explain a little bit of the actual situation at the moment. Obviously, there's more details to it that we can't address at the moment because we don't really have time. Okay, to answer my questions, there are 2 ways to obtain a residency in Costa Rica at the moment. One is the normal way, that is a physical way, that is when your lawyer goes to immigration, introduce the documents. That one takes longer. And there's another way, which is an online system. The online system is called Tramite Ya. This platform was amazing when it started. And it started actually after the pandemic. So we were really, really
Happy.
when this started that it will continue the way it started at the beginning, because it was we were obtaining residencies in few months. Okay, but at the moment, the physical way, that is the normal way where your lawyer goes to, it takes around, like Vanessa said, around year and a half, even 2 years. I do a lot of legal representatives of Costa Rican companies, and I'm telling you, it's around 2 years, even more. Okay, what residencies can be done through Tramite Ya, which is our online system. It's still been the best way of doing a residency, but unfortunately, investors cannot be done through that one, and legal representatives either. Okay, so which ones can be done in Tramite Ya? Pensioners, rentiers. If you got like a Costa Rican child, if you got a Costa Rican husband, permanent residencies, students, and domestic workers. Those are like the most populars. What is the timeline at the moment? It's not like it's used to, but it's still faster. So I'm thinking around 6 months, 7 months, and this is like the best immigration can do at the moment. There's there's not 2 ways, but there's like 2 main steps in the online system. Okay, the first one is affiliation, and then when your lawyer introduce all the documentation. This affiliation, in theory, prolongs your visa, your tourist visa, or your documentation. But there's a lot of goes and forward with this because they haven't either released a proper documentation or what's happening in that limbo. So just be careful if you got like residency on the go on Tramite Ya. Is good. That's why I suggest, because when this came around, everybody started saying that you don't need a lawyer. And let me tell you that in Costa Rica, for immigration process, you do need a lawyer, because there's so many technicalities that you might not know, that we sometimes don't know. And why is that? Because communication is one of the main problems that immigration department faces. Okay, for them it's too difficult to communicate all the
Changes.
all the changes, regulations around it. So to answer your question, there's 2 ways of obtaining a residency. Like normal way, I call normal way, like you go in person, your lawyer go in person, introduce all documentation, and then the online one, that's still the best. But just remember that to do an online presentation, you need to have your file completed. Okay, we need criminal record apostille, depending the country of origin, it will be federal or national. Birth certificate apostille as well, and all the national documents that you're gonna need. So bear in mind that as the best way always to obtain a residency is to have your file completed. So we also gonna do during this show, like in different questions, we're gonna talk about that as well. But like just to answer that, there's 2 ways. One is faster than the other one, And for the fastest one, you need your file completed. And unfortunately, it's not for the most popular type of residencies at the moment.
Thank you very kindly. And let's go to question number 3. What can a foreigner or an applicant do to get a quicker response? I believe you touched a little bit on that, but let's get back to, I believe Natalie is going to be speaking to us about this.
Yes. Well, actually, I'm going to complete what Laura has just said. First of all, I think that one of the first things that it's important to address here is that the person that is trying to obtain a residency in Costa Rica must be aware and understand the situation that immigration is facing and that my colleagues has already addressed. Okay. In this sense, I will say that my first advice is, as Laura said before, to present or at least to try to complete your application as soon as possible. It is possible to apply for a residency in Costa Rica not fulfilling all the requirements, but this will not permit immigration to resolve your process as soon as it could be if you present the complete application. Immigration will start counting the term that they have or the term that they are actually in this moment taking to resolve the process. We have talked about 2 years. Once the file has been complete in front of the immigration authorities. So this is one, and I will say, yes, one of the most important steps to obtain a residency quicker than another options. Okay. My second advice will be to seek legal assistance. As Laura said, even if the process can be done without a lawyer, with the Costa Rican bureaucracy, it's better if you hire someone of your confidence that know all the tricks and all the ways to help you and assist you during the process in the application of your residency. But it is important that you know who you are hiring. Do not go with those online or express residency offers that promise you to obtain a residency in 2-3 months. Even if it sounds amazing, do not trust in the first illusion that it makes to you. It is important to know that immigration takes currently 2 years, 1 year at least, to resolve a residency in the normal way and 6 months under tramite ya. So please investigate who you are hiring to avoid to go to not legitimate or real offers. I will say those are the main advice that we have for you.
I have a question on that very specific point
Yes.
because very recently, for example, in social medias, in different expats groups, there was some advertising and some messages communicated to people to that very specific effect. And it seems like there's some kind of a trend right now in the country of these types of services being offered. Now, if I'm a newcomer and I'm arriving in Costa Rica and I'm really not too sure where to go with this, how can I make sure? Is there an advice there that we could give people to make sure that actually the service that we've been approached by or approaching is actually legitimate and been done in the spirit of the law and is not an illegal approach or service?
Pepito, I would like to help to answer that, if you may I. This happened before. Years ago, we had the same situation. And there were some people advertising the same thing of getting residencies in no time, in months. The Lawyers Bar Association have a list of lawyers. So if you're hiring someone, what you should do, or what we recommend you to do, is to check. You can contact the Lawyers Bar Association, and they will give you like the what we call ID carnet of us, okay? That we belong to a bar association, the Lawyers Bar Association of Costa Rica. because then otherwise you won't know if the people that are often, there's a lot of, I don't know how to say it in English, but like tramitólogos, so people that would do the process for you, saying like you will get it in no time, but they're not actual lawyers.
Okay.
Also,
Very-
Pepito, if someone is offering the residency approved in 2-3 months, that's impossible. Only maybe through trámite ya is possible, but otherwise they will pay someone inside immigration, or it's going to be a fake ID.
Thank you.
Yes, I
Very,
will.
very good point.
Yes, to be a lawyer in Costa Rica, to allow to be a lawyer in Costa Rica, you need to be registered in the Bar Association of Costa Rica. So first, search there. And after, the second thing you can do is to search the lawyer in Google. Google the law firm, Google the lawyer, search for advice. We say here that the best way to know when you hire a service or a professional is the boca en boca. That is what we say in Spanish. That means that other people that has used the service recommend you who they have hired.
Thank you.
That's one.
And a last thing, and something that I have seen on groups of expats is that some people that come with these offers, they have a higher fee than other firms, and they specialize or they can expedite processes in one only category. So that's like that should be a red flag. I mean, if there is some you know, like if immigration is currently having issues trying to get on with all the load work that they have, it doesn't make sense. I mean, all of these things you need to consider. Like can this affect me in the future if they don't tell me that they are bribing? And can I get my residence canceled because I wanted it to be like faster? All those things are things that you should be considering when you do the research that we're talking about here.
Thank you. I'm just going to put up one comment and observation from someone. I don't know if somebody in the group will want to answer this, but this comes from Phil Lapkin and says, was anyone from the government, or more specifically the Immigration Department, asked to participate in this forum? If yes, what was their response?
They will never participate, Pepito. They don't even want to give us the number of pending resolutions. They will never participate because they are government officers.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for clarifying that, because there's some people talking to that effect in different chats.
We may try.
Wait, we need to be careful with that. They were not invited. We didn't ask anyone for immigration. They have participated with us in other forums. So it's not like they would have. We didn't think about asking them in these specific opportunities, because this one was like for the lawyers to tell our side and to share to all the immigrants what's happening. But obviously in future forums, we will ask them to participate, okay? But it's not like they want. They have done that in the past when we have asked them. At the moment, they haven't shared like how many files they got and that, but it's because they don't have that data. They got the data only for refugees, and I would like to clarify that, okay? At the moment, immigration doesn't have exactly amount of requesting processes of investors, pensioners, legal representatives, etc., because their system is very old, so they don't have the way of filtering all the data. That's what we are aware of, and that's why like it's being complicated for them to get like funds and other things that we're going to speak in other questions. But just to clarify that to the person that asked us that, no, they were not invited in a specific occasion, but they will do in future ones. It was just the first live we do in an English language with immigration lawyers.
Thank you. Now let's go to question number 4. What are the benefits of obtaining legal residency? Any tax incentives for the applicant? And this question goes to Sebastián Alvarado.
Thank you, guys. Well, many of you already know that there was a law that was published and put into place back in 2021. It's the law to attract investors. Actually, it's the law to attract investors, rentiers, and retired. Some people even call it the golden law. I like to call it the aluminium law or something like that because getting there, it's a real challenge. So before I go to the benefits, it's very important for people to understand that you cannot or you're not eligible to access these benefits until you get the approval. Before an approval, your legal status in the country remains the last previous one that you had. For many people, it's just the tourist status. So if you're a tourist, it is until you get the approval that you become a resident, and it is until you complete the process that you get to access the benefits of this law to attract investors, rentiers, and retired. Okay. Having said that, I can mention more benefits. For example, there is no need for an entry round ticket in order to enter Costa Rica. So you can just have one-way ticket and you can enter. This is what my colleagues were mentioning, that during the pandemic, many people was not able to enter Costa Rica because they didn't have a residence, and they have corporations here, they have business here, they had properties here, and since they didn't have a residence in hand, they couldn't enter. With a residence, you can enter with one-way ticket, and that's just right there. It's something to consider to have, right? Another important thing is that many people, myself, I have permanent residencies in 3 different countries. Many people think that due to considering the geopolitical situation right now in the world, having options to move from one place to the other is it's a good option. Obviously, you gotta be at a privileged status to consider this option, but I still like to talk about that because I think it's important. Another important thing is the access to universal healthcare. Once you become a resident, actually, it's part of the process. It's a mandatory part of the process to get enrolled into the CAHA. The CAHA is pretty much universal healthcare. You will have access to drugs, to appointments, regular checks, etc. There are a lot of questions around this. Obviously, CAHA is a public service and it has its ups and downs, but overall, it's a very good service. We have one of the best healthcare systems in Latin America. The amount that you can pay or that you will have to pay, depending on the category that you choose, can go from $80 to $400. So it's important that you ask for advice when you are trying to see if you qualify for a specific residence. Okay, how much I am going to pay to CAHA, and what can I do in order to do this process the most cost-effective way, right? Another important thing is having access to local financial institutions. I am talking about banks. If you have a plastic, it's easier to open an account and to get credit, and there are less restrictions when it comes to opening a bank account. You can also get a driver's license, which is an issue for many people that is people waiting for 1 year, 2 years for the residence to be out, and they need to do these border runs in order to keep driving. Well, once you complete the process, you have the chance to get your local driver's license. And obviously that's very appealing because you don't have to do this leave from one time to time, right? Another important thing is that after 3 years of being a resident, you can request a permanent residency, which is also something that is good because with the permanent, you are no longer tied to that eligibility requirement. I am talking about you're no longer tied with the investment, you're no longer tied with the retirement, you're no longer tied with the rentista or the fixed income that you require for the rentista, right? Having said those, specific tax benefits, which are the ones that are in this law to attract investors here. There is a one-time exception on the import of household goods. That's the famous container that everyone wants to bring, a container full of stuff. Okay, you can bring that container with things that you have and use in your house without having to pay the import tax. Okay, we at the office, we work very close with some agencies that provide services of relocation, and they have explained to us that the things that go in the container are the things that you could find in a Costa Rican house. We're not talking about equipment. We're not, if you have horses, we're not talking about that. We're talking like the regular things you could find in a Costa Rican house. Okay, and that's important to understand when you are planning on having access or trying to get this benefit. The second thing is 2 vehicles, duty-free, no import taxes. Remember, these tax benefits are only after you get the approval of the residence, once you complete the process of the residence, because you need the ID card in order to access those. So you can bring 2 vehicles. I am talking about anything with a motor on it, a motorcycle, a boat, a helicopter, a car, anything that it's a vehicle or considered a vehicle, you can bring it without paying import taxes. The third thing is that you will get a 20% exception on the transfer tax for real estate properties. Basically, when you buy a property, you need to pay to the government, because here you pay to the government almost every day of your life. So you when you buy the property and you need to pay for the transfer tax to the government, you can save 20% on that specific tax. I think it's 1.5 of the total value of the property. So that's something that it's, if you are planning on investing in Costa Rica in real estate, that's something you could take advantage of. And instruments and materials for professional or scientific practice, you can also bring those without paying any import taxes. So that's pretty much regarding the benefits. I think is, I mean, if I were you guys, I would be trying to get the residence. Of course, it takes a lot of time, but that's the importance that Natalie were mentioning of starting the process as soon as possible. You get the advice you need, you get the, you find the right attorney, and you start as soon as you can.
So quickly, what is your answer for Jamie, who is saying, once we get the temporary residency, can we now bring in a car from the US tax-free? I know it was passed by the government, but not implemented. Was this implemented or not?
Yes, a year ago.
Okay.
Also, you can also, sorry, Sebastian, just to add, you can also purchase the car here and they will apply the tax-free. I mean, you don't have to only bring it from abroad. You can purchase it here and they will apply the exemption.
Thank you very kindly.
But it needs to be, correct me if I am wrong, but it needs to be a new car, right? From a retailer.
Yes.
Yeah, we have done that.
Okay.
But it's also a possibility. Yes.
Yeah.
One more thing to add up, which is very valid, the concern saying if this is really being applied, is that the regulations to have that law applied was only adopted February last year. So that clarified for us the road to be followed and to properly advise our clients. So yes, pretty much 2 years had passed by before the government approved the regulations, and this caused a serious delay in the approval of these benefits.
Thank you very kindly. Very good answer. Now, to the next point, the 5th point. We're moving on pretty quickly in the show. Now, let's say, for example, I have filed my application for some time. Now it's been 8 months, 12 months, 14 months, 16 months, and I'm really not happy how things are going. I'm one of those guys who's frustrated, bitching about the system on social media and stuff. Is there any legal procedures to obtain any type of answers from the immigration department? So that is question number 5, and that goes to first Mariana.
Mariana, before you start, I want to say that we also bitch a lot.
Yes, correct.
Go ahead, Mariana, por favor.
Okay, there are two separate ways to push immigration to check on the files. It's important to know that basically every attorney who handles immigration, it's doing this type of process because of the big load of work that immigration currently has and the big delay that they have. The first one would be to submit a complaint before the Defensoría de los Habitantes, the ombudsman. They are the institution or the entity that supervises government institutions to check that they actually are respecting human rights and that they are working or doing their work on the properly manner and the time that they are supposed to. So when you submit this complaint before the Defensoría de los Habitantes, what they do is to ask immigration why the process is not being handled in the proper time and for a resolution or an answer of what is going on. It's important to note that this complaint before the Defensoría de los Habitantes, it's not binding, and it's not that they are saying, okay, give me a positive resolution on the file. They're just letting them know, we need you to solve the files, what is going on, why is it taking so long. Currently, to submit this type of complaints before the ombudsman, you need, if you're going to do it as us as attorneys on the files of third parties, we need a specific power of attorney, and it's for that specific process. So it's important that even though we have a power of attorney, for example, at the immigration office, to make the entire process, we will need a separate power of attorney to make this complaint directly at the Defensoría de los Habitantes. And it's a process that or a complaint that should be solved quickly. But due to the amount of complaints that have been submitted and the amount of additional work that this is causing immigration, it can take 2-3 months to get a response. Important part of this or this type of complaint is that if by any chance there is something missing in the file, I don't know, or if they want to say that something is missing in the file, because even a stamp will be checked to see if it's missing. Obviously, when you submit a complaint before immigration, they don't like it. So they will thoroughly check the file and see if anything it's missing. With this type of complaint, at least we have the possibility that if they say, or I don't know, picture it's missing, a stamp it's missing, that we are able to submit this additional document. They won't deny at once the resolution or put a negative resolution. They will say, okay, we check the file, and for example, the file from Sebastian is missing a stamp. You have 10 days to submit this pending document or whatever it's pending. But it's also important to understand that when you submit this pending document, it will cause the file again to have a delay of 8 months, 10 months, a year for immigration to start checking again the file. So when this type of complaints are submitted, obviously you need to be super aware and super sure that nothing is missing. And unfortunately, even though we know, for example, no, my file is complete, I'm not missing anything, they will check. I repeat this because it's what it's going on. For example, like with a magnifying glass, no, that picture, it's not clear enough, so you need to submit a new picture. Things like that. So it's important for you to know that this is happening currently, and it's due to the load of work that they have. There's a second process that can be submitted, that it's to open a litigation process at the administrative court or tribunal, that it's called the amparo de legalidad, and Sebastian is going to talk to us about that. One important thing is that if we submit the two process, it can take 3 to 5 months to get a response from any of the institutions. And if this second process is submitted and immigration checks the file and something is missing, they will deny the application. In that second part, they will deny it. But Sebastian can explain a bit more about this.
Okay, Sebastian.
Yes, thank you. The other option, it's the amparo de legalidad. I like to call it the protection of legality recourse in English, because that's what it does. And actually, the name in Spanish it's pretty much that, the recurso de amparo de legalidad, the protection of legality recourse. So this consists basically on suing immigration. You go to a judge, you tell them, hey, the law says they should have replied in 90 days. It's been a year. So I need you to ask them what's going on. And a judge is going to take around 3 to 5 months to notify immigration. In the past, it was faster, but there is so many people trying to use these two recourses with the amparo de legalidad and the one that Mariana was explaining, that now they are taking 3 to 5 months. That's how big the backlog is. I mean, it's a delay caused by immigration on our courthouses. So basically, the judge is going to tell immigration, hey, this user is telling me that this has taken this long, so we need a report from you explaining what's going on. Immigration is not going to take the chance, because since this comes from a judge, they just don't want to get into that back and forth and going to a trial and spending years on this. So what they do is that they just resolve. They just issue a resolution saying, and then they tell the judge, hey, here is the resolution. We already answered, they are lying. And that's pretty much how it works. It's very efficient, but it has pros and cons. Part of what Mariana was saying is that it's very common to see immigration trying to find a little detail, or even issuing a negative resolution based on some arbitrariness there, because we sued them. So, I mean, it's very efficient, but it's important that you understand that there are cons and there are possible consequences. What are the benefits of this? What are the advantages of this? Okay, you get a faster resolution. I mean, it guarantees that you're going to have a resolution. It doesn't guarantee that you're going to have a specific outcome. I mean, submitting this protection of legality doesn't mean that you're going to be approved. It just means that you're going to get a resolution on the process. It expedited the process, obviously. Depending on the person who's going to handle that resolution, we can get one of three things. You can get a positive resolution. You can get a warning asking you for some clarification on something, or asking for additional information, which will delay the process. Or it could be a denial. If there is a denial because of any of these instruments that we have to push and obligate immigration to resolve, you can always appeal, right? You have 3 days to appeal. I mean, you need to move fast. Once you get the resolution, if it is a denial, you appeal that. And that's another story. I mean, you need to wait it's going to delay the process an additional year. But I mean, again, as I told in my previous in the previous response that I was giving you, you need to get advice from the lawyer, understand how this works, understand the consequences of submitting a protection of legality recourses. Today, because I have my report at the office, we have submitted around 17 of these. And I mean, we have received denials of 17 recourses that we have submitted. We have appealed all of them. We have won all of them, all the appeals. But obviously, we get the setback that it takes an additional year if you appeal. So this tells you something, right? Like, if the success rate for the appeal is high, it means that, I mean, something is wrong or something is happening in immigration, and that it could be a million reasons. It could be they need help. It could be they are just trying to get rid of applications to move to the next one. It could be a lot of things. But the point is that you need to get the proper advice, someone who has the patience to explain to you as many times as you need, someone who's available for you. And that's pretty much it. I mean, you have legal ways to push immigration.
Thank you. If they have so much work, go ahead.
No, as an additional comment is that our clients needs to understand that even though there are these legal ways to do it, that they need to be patient, because unfortunately it's not a process that will be fast. And even though with these resources, process are not moving fast. So
That's right.
if we submit a process today, they need to understand that if they will have a positive resolution at once, it will be in a year and a half or 2 years. And if by any chance the resolution it's not positive, it's an additional document to be submitted, that will be another additional year. So to be patient with this type of process.
So,
Yeah,
Sebastian,
if
you
you
want
do,
to answer Serge's point? If they have too much work, then why do they create even more work for themselves by creating delays?
That's
I always
a
think
very good question. It's a
I
mystery.
always ask that myself. Yeah, but I think that it's something about the Costa Rican idiocracy of the pura vida. Like, yeah, it will be solved. You don't worry. And it has it could be something that it's like an introduction to the country, to some things that we deal with in Costa Rica. But in the other hand, I also think that they don't have the coaching of someone who has been in this other side. Like, if you do your job more efficiently, you will have less work to do, and that's something that we here know. But people on the administration, the public administration, they might not understand that because they don't have that pressure.
Yeah,
Okay. We're moving on. Go ahead.
Pepito, is like Serge Lalonde was asking why. I mean, we, as a group of immigration lawyers, we have been trying to help immigration, and we are telling them, please check the file and you give us only one resolution asking for every pending document, and that's it. Then we complete, and that's it. But they keep asking for one time one document, second time another document. So they keep asking for documents, and I have submitted over 100 complaints at the ombudsman. And what with the first one, I got a resolution because the photo was not clear enough. So why they didn't give my client the residency? Because the photo was not clear enough, and the photo could be the photo of a delinquent. I said, oh my God, they need to learn to simplify the process. They need to learn to apply the law 8220. They need to learn that, because otherwise they will have more and more work, Pepito. But that's what we are trying to do.
Let's move forward, amigos, with why is the investor residency facing more delays than other types of application? And that goes to Margarita.
Hi, yes, I think that first of all, we need to understand that before the pandemic, we started that with a lot of backlog. Then the pandemic hit, and we as a country approved a new law in 2021, giving tax benefits, lowering the amount of the investment. Also, when that law got approved, behind that law, we were missing two things: the regulations, which came almost 2 years later than that in order to be applied. And the second thing is that behind that law, the immigration authorities had no real economic backup plan for applying that law. So that gave us an incredible amount of applications because of the benefits and everything that was approved in that law. So everybody wanted to apply for that residency, that type of residency, and they had no personnel. They are very, very understaffed, as my colleagues had said before in their interventions. They are very understaffed, and of course, probably they had to think before approving that law, giving the specific economic backup to apply that law in the way it was approved, because also the law was saying or establishing that it was going to be a fast approval of the application, which never came because they don't have the staff to do it. They are not fast enough. I mean, we started with backlog, and then this law got approved, and then we got, as Marcela said before, it was an avalanche of applications, which at this moment, they are all pending with only less than 20 people to approve or reject these applications or to assess them. So you can imagine it's almost impossible to do. It's a task which they are facing, and like I said, there was no economic support behind those approvals, the approval of that law. So I think they were very understaffed. They started with backlog. They were close to almost a year. And now everybody, of course, they need the approval to apply for the benefits, as Sebastian described before. So, of course, there are too many applications. And also there are some things that this law in 2021 that was approved changed some specific criteria in the investors category, which was, like I said, there were some benefits, but for example, there were changes in how the property should be registered. It should be registered in the personal name, and if it is in a corporation, we have to prove the value of the shares. So some changes were implemented, and of course, a lot of applicants or a lot of foreigners had their properties in corporations which were not active before the tax authorities, which was also a change. And of course, that's making a little bit harder to apply. And then when you do apply, of course, you're facing all those things that I said. But I think that the most important thing is what Marcela and Vanessa said in the beginning, and Laura, which is that the law that was approved in the fiscal area, it's giving them a hard time because they don't have enough staff, but they cannot get new staff. Okay, so that is really important. I mean, the solution for this problem should be having the economic backup to get more employees, but they are not allowed to do it in order for our government to don't get very, very or bigger than it is. So I think that's one of the main reasons that they are not allowed to apply, which will be the solution. We have been working as a group in order to find at least a solution or funds or something to help them solve this problem, because they don't have a solution at this point.
Thank you. Sebastian, did you want to add something quickly to this point before we move to point number 7? I want to stress out the show's already 1 hour going.
I am fine. I mean, I think Margarita said everything that needed to be said.
Perfect. Thank you. So let's move on to point number 7. Does immigration have unified criteria of solving residency applications? This goes to Marcela and Laura.
Okay, I will start real quickly because we are running out of time, Pepito, but no, they don't have a unified criteria. And that's what we are trying to do as a group of immigration lawyers. For example, you as a Canadian, you know the situation of many Canadian people who authenticate the document through the Costa Rican consulate in the past, and now immigration is doubting about the authentication process because a notary is involved in the process. They are not accepting those documents anymore, and it's causing a big delay. Canadians, they have to spend more money to do the authentication that immigration considers a proper authentication. We as a group, we have talked to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. They said the authentication process was okay, but they consider that the authentication process is not okay. They are doubting of the authentication process of Canadian documents, American documents, so that's delaying the process. So they are doubting about the CPA certification. They doubt, they changed the income letter to prove an income of $2,500. They had a draft of letter that now they don't accept the $60,000 deposit in a Costa Rican bank. And the worst is that they don't make this information public. So the foreigner will be mad when I ask them, okay, you have to get a new document from Canada because immigration is not accepting, and in the past they used to accept the document. And the worst, Pepito, is that we have clients approved with one document, and then we have another technician that doesn't accept the document. So there is a confusion. There is a lot of confusion, and they don't have a unified criteria, and that's our main goal as a group, to do like a guideline to help immigration to have a unified criteria, because it's affecting us, it's affecting our clients. I mean, we want the process to be fast, because the longer the process takes, it means money, it means time, and we are going to be all stressed because immigration is taking forever and they don't simplify the process.
So if I get this right, Marcela, the fact that we don't have like a unified criteria system makes it the process a little bit more, leaves the judgment of the resolution or the case to somebody working in the immigration department office. Is that what you're saying, basically?
Pretty much.
Yes.
Okay.
That's my personal opinion, Pepito. That's what I have seen with my cases. I have cases approved with one document, cases denied with the same documents.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know what can I wait from immigration.
And Laura, do you want to add something to this?
Just to go a bit faster, because we're running out of time with the questions and that. Marcela actually explained very well what's happening, and that happens to every single type of residency. I had the same situation with the students, because the letter of students didn't say the word active, but in other cases said other words. So in some cases it was approved and some others no. So don't worry and don't blame your lawyer if that happens to you. I see someone asked someone before that if you are expert, you should know the requirements. We do know the requirements. The problem is because they don't have a proper guideline of exactly how they want it. These things happens, and it happens to us all the time. So it's not like the lawyers didn't advise you correctly. It's like we don't know. Is that precisely they don't have a guideline exactly on what the letter or the specific requirement has to say. We suggested that as a group before. We even did like some letters as an example on how they should be filled. As different as naturalization process, those who have done naturalizations or have friends who've done naturalizations, the public register works, the civil register works differently. They got like a guideline, and they got like an actual, what we call machotes, or like forms that you just need to complete. So we have suggested many things to improve this, and yes, you're gonna get prevented for something, and your friend might have not. And this happens all the time because there's a lack of criteria or unified criteria, and there's a lack of guideline. I think I've
Yes.
Thank you. I think that was very clear. Question number 8. How is the process to obtain a digital nomad visa working? I know this is a brand new law. People are very excited about it. In the field from different people, I've been hearing different things. For some people, it's been a great experience. For other people, it seems, once again, it's sort of like a horror story. But how long is this supposed to take? Margarita, this is a question for you.
Yes, well, this is one of the other great ideas the government had during the pandemic. This was supposed to be very fast and started faster in Trámite Ya, which is a digital platform we can apply this kind of application. Unfortunately, it's taking a lot of time as well. It's backlogged. And yes, it's faster for the foreigners. It's a little bit easier because it's not a residency, so it has less requirements, or it's a little bit
Flexible.
freer. Yes, it's a little bit more flexible than the residency. But yes, it has its stages. It has requirements as well. I think it will be better if it's faster, because that's the the origin of the category they created, but it's not happening. I think it has its benefits. The law establishes that the driver license from abroad is going to work here during this time that you have been granted this category. Also, that it will be easier for you in our bank system to get bank accounts, for example. You can apply with a family, and also you don't have to be specifically married. I mean, you can live with the person, which in residency is not a very easy requirement to prove. And it's almost, I will say, it's almost impossible to get it approved without the applicants being married if they are applying as dependents. But yes, it has an exemption for importing some equipment. If you are working here, you don't have to pay income tax when you're working here. But yes, it should be way faster. Also, the clients which have been granted with this visa, they also face some obstacles in the banks, or for example, in the street driving with our police officers, because they don't know the specific law. So they try to pull them aside to get the license plates down, because they don't know that the digital nomads law actually have this benefit. So yes, it's a figure that we do have. The first applicants were the most fortunate ones, which they got approved faster. Now, I think it's not being faster than 4.5 months or 5 months. It doesn't get approved faster than that. And sometimes it takes longer than that. So it's a figure that, of course, it's good, but we will have to work as well as in the other categories in residency to get it a better process, to get it approved faster. And it also has its issues proving the income, that the person is working for someone abroad, not in Costa Rica, and that you have to prove that income throughout certification from a public accountant, or throughout bank statements, or you can get a little bit of backup with a sworn statement. But yes, it has its problems. It's there. It's faster than the residency, and you can change once they grant it. You can apply for residency if you want. But yes, it's there. It's good, but it has its things as most of the other categories.
So what I'm hearing, Margarita, about this digital nomad, that's for a year, right? With a possibility of a year extension. Now, I have people telling me, well, Pepito, now with the 180-day, visa, why the hell would I go for a digital nomad? I just need to do one border run and I'm done. Boom.
Yes, exactly. So that is another thing that the
government did.
Exactly. So of course, with this new stamp, people also would say, well, one stamp and I will get 6 months. So that would almost be the time to get the category approved. So yes, it has its things. Like I said, the figure or the category was approved to be a fast thing because of the origin of the figure. I mean, the digital nomad looks for something fast, and they change country even faster, I would say. So it doesn't make any sense if it gets, 6 months to get it approved. So I think it's a figure that can help us, but it needs to get faster, because if it's not done that way, it loses its agility. Yes.
Yeah. Marcela, do you want to add something on that?
No, it's what Margarita is saying is clear. Is that what the government is doing? They approve the digital nomad visa, and then they approve the 6 months visa. So who is gonna apply for the digital nomad?
Yeah. That's right. Okay, exactly. Once an application is filed, can the applicant stay dry for how long? I don't know if we could go quickly on this answer, but still need to an exit tickets. This is Natalie. This is for you.
Okay. Yes. Well, I think that it is important to begin this question, addressing this question, with the note that a foreign person to start an application for a residency should be under a legal or regular status in Costa Rica. That means that should apply while he or she is under the visa tourist term. Okay. If the applicant does that, once they have applied for the residency, they will receive, or his her lawyer should submit the person a document confirming that the application has been done. Okay, this confirmation will indicate the file number, the type of category or residency the person is applying. With this confirmation, the person will be legally in the country until immigration authorities resolve their process. That means for as long as the time immigration takes to resolve the process, the 2 years that we are saying. Um, Now, there are a couple of elements to consider. Even if the person can stay in the country for even more than the time that the visa expires, these considering that in a beginning of the history, immigration has 3 months to resolve the process, but they do not comply with this term. Um, the applicant, the user cannot be prejudiced for this situation. So, what happens if I am an applicant for a residency and I need to, or if I want to travel, I want to go to my country, or I want to exit Costa Rica for a period, okay? What happens? I can do that. The applicant can do that. The expat can do that without any problem. He or she is able to exit the country as for many times he wants. But once the person enters again to Costa Rica, it will be entering under a tourist status. That means they will need to prove all the requirements for any person to enter to Costa Rica. We are talking about primarily the exit ticket and proving that they have sufficient incomes to stay in Costa Rica for the period that they are going to stay here. Once they have entered again the country, okay, the confirming document that I told you before works again, and they can stay in the country for as long as they want. But when they are entering, they need to prove the exit ticket. The
Perfect.
other, yes.
Go ahead.
Okay, the other thing to consider is the driving. What happens while I wait for my confirmation or my resolution from immigration authorities? Can I drive in Costa Rica? You can drive, or the applicant, the person in Costa Rica can drive for 3 months. That is what the law says right now with a foreign driver's license, driver's permit. Okay, if the 3 months has expired, what they can do is to a visa run, a border run, to renovate the stamp, the entry stamp in their passport. Even if there are some nationalities that nowadays have a 6 months, 180 days tourist visa, the driver's license permit only works for 3 months. The foreign driver's license permit only works for 3 months. And this was saying that once you have the residency, you can homologate your foreign residency for a Costa Rican residency. But while you wait for your resolution, you only have 3 months for each entry stamp that it is issued in your passport.
Thank you very kindly. Now, amigos, I've kept the last question, the best question, I believe, the most important question for me, in my eyes, as a last question, but I think a very, very important one. I've listened to a lot of the things that you have all been saying. I really, really appreciate your honesty, your openness, your transparency tonight. And but the one question I have, and which I think is a lot of the probably a lot of people listening are thinking the same thing. So, what are you all doing as immigration lawyers to change the situation? Now we have Marcela. First, did you want to speak on this question?
Okay, Pepito. Okay, as we have mentioned before, we are working as a group of immigration lawyers to change the situation because we want the foreigner. First, we are initiating this campaign to inform the foreigner about the actual situation of immigration, so they know that it's not our fault. We are doing our best to get the resolution, but it's impossible if immigration doesn't have enough resources to get the approvals done. And Pepito, it is important to consider that in other countries like US, to get a residency will take between 3 to 4 years. In Europe, is the same. But in Costa Rica, we used to talk about 1 year to get the residency. Now it's 2 years. But we have so many foreigners upset, I know, because the government gave them a promise to give tax benefits to investors, but the process is taking forever. So we are working as a group to change the situation. We are asking the government for help, but we want the foreigner to be relaxed, happy in Costa Rica because they are going to get the residency. If they don't have any criminal background and the file is complete, they will get the residency. They will have to get the pura vida style, relax, be patient, and they will get the residency. But they need to know that our country is full of applications. Immigration is collapsing. So they need to be a little patient. Laura, you know more than me, so you can continue.
Laura, go ahead, please.
Okay, well, thank you everybody for joining us tonight. I think it has been a pleasure for me to participate with the best of Costa Rican immigration attorneys. And what are we doing? As Marcela said, we are meeting with the authorities. We are an immigration group approved by the Immigration Bar Association. We're not tonight, having said that, tonight we're not speaking under the Lawyer Bar Association. We're speaking under our own firms. However, we do belong to an important group of colleagues that are meeting with immigration authorities, with Defensoría de los Habitantes, and we also have spoken to Procomer, which is one of the most important institutions at the moment in Costa Rica, which is promoting investments in that. And we hoping there are coming good news in the next months and years where we can work together with Procomer, Lawyers Bar Association, and immigration authorities to help immigration with, as my colleague said, the lack of officers that they have and the lack of budget that they have. I do believe that they're trying their best with what they got. There's still a lot for them to learn because as one of the person asked, why they get so pity in things when they saw the light. We all ask the same questions. And I think they're working new procedures. They're working in getting online as well, but that will take time. As Marcela explained very well, we need to be patient at the moment. You're going to get your residency, but not in the time they promote it. And one of the things that is coming that they're trying to arrange is that to let people know that we won't get residencies in 90 days because at the moment that's impossible. But what we heard from them is that they're changing the law to extend that period. Because as Marce and other colleagues said, the other countries were like residency 2 years. So it's not about the time it takes, it's that not knowing what's going on. And that they tell you one thing and then they ask you for another. So we are, to answer the question, we are meeting with authorities. We are suggesting options, and we are sharing with them experiences from our own firms to let them know what's happening. Because as you might know, and doesn't only happen in Costa Rica, it happens in pretty much every country in the world. Bureaucracy is across the world. So what happened is that like directors might not know what the offices under them are doing. So most of preventions, they might not even know. I must say as well that we've done that before, and we managed to get a document from them when they actually got in writing to us what can be done and what cannot be done in certain aspects. But that has to be a still continuing work. So thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, Peter. Good night, and thank you everybody for listening. I think Vanessa still needs to talk, but thank you so much for this.
Thank you. And we have Vanessa. Would you like
Well,
to add something on this question?
yeah, maybe it's time to get a pencil to make some recommendations, some specific recommendations for our listeners out there. First of all, guys, look for the help of a specialist if you're going to apply for a residency in Costa Rica. That's very important. There's a lot of firms that are 100% devoted to these kind of matters. Other ones at least have a specialist, and others, in a very transparent and responsible manner, at least they outsource the service of an specialist, because it does make a difference. You have heard us all night long with these technicalities that not all the colleagues in this area knows about. Keep close to your lawyers by keeping or staying close. We're not mentioning it. We're not referring to to call every other day, because we have explained that it takes time, but it's very important to keep a continuous communication. You can also request from your lawyers copy of the receipts of the paperwork of the resident claim that we all file on your behalf. That is very important, because you guys should be involved in the following of the process. You at least should know the number of your file. We receive every day people coming to our firms. They say, well, this other lawyer didn't fulfill or didn't comply with this. Well, can we have a copy of they don't have a copy of the file. They don't even know the number. And that's very important for you to have. The importance of providing us, your lawyers, with the complete requirements, that makes a whole difference. Try to put everything together. These long terms of response from immigration that we're complaining all about, that year and a half, 2 years, those periods only start counting as of the moment that the files are complete, not 1 second before. So try to compile everything and bring not only your case easier, but also for us. Be very careful. I think we discussed enough along tonight. Be very careful with those offers of having your residency approved in express manner. Not everything shining is gold. We say it in Spanish. Be very, very aware of that. And a very basic question that we receive now that Margarita was explaining so thoroughly about the digital nomads. Do I need a residency in Costa Rica? The answer is yes. If you own a property, if you are the owner of a company, if you are paying salaries, if you have your kids in the education system, you're no longer a tourist. You have business in Costa Rica. And this system that you now understand, that is very heavy on paperwork and in procedures for everything, that same system will respond better if you have a resident or a legal status as opposed to those who don't. So that would be kind of it's been a pleasure. Thank you for the question that we're receiving. We remain at your disposal, and hopefully there will be a next time that we'll be able to continue answering your questions. Thank you very much.
That has been just absolutely great. Amigos, amigas, I want to thank you all for participating to the show. The point I want to make, and the reactions I've been getting from some of the people tonight, I think that the people really appreciate. I think this is a first in Costa Rica. I think it's first in the immigration field, where a group of attorneys have actually gathered together in a positive and constructive way. And I think everybody is looking for the appropriate solutions. I think you've all made also the message very, very clear that Costa Rica is open to expats. Costa Rica is open to immigration. And but we have to, I guess, put a little bit of pura vida in there and be patient, work closely with our immigration lawyers. Somebody was mentioning earlier, it's not just a question of getting an attorney, it's a question of getting an immigration specialized attorney, and having all the documents complete, and putting all the chances on our side. I think will make the entire tramite a lot better. So I wanted to thank you all. Thank you for also doing this in English. This is the first. I think this is historical here in Costa Rica. And I'm hoping to have you all on the show very quickly. I know there's an abundance of questions and comments out there. We cannot do them all, but unfortunately, but maybe next time. Quick roundtable, 15 seconds each before terminating. Laura, we're going to start with you.
Well, no, I think there's not much to add. Thank you very much once again. I think it was a great opportunity for people to know, for foreigners to know that we're doing our best. And that definitely, as Vanessa said, please hire prepared people in your cases and just confirm that they're lawyers and not just tramitólogos.
That's perfect. Marcela.
Okay, I just want to tell everybody that me as an immigration lawyer or any other immigration lawyer will like to get the approval as soon as possible, because if we don't have the approval as soon as possible, it means the process will be longer. So it means time and stress for us. We are number one interested in giving you an answer as soon as possible, but we rely on immigration, and immigration is suffering the biggest crisis in 20 years. So please be patient, get the Pura Vida style, and you will live 90 years. You will live longer.
Vanessa. Okay, Vanessa, I think we lost your audio. We're going to go to Sebastian and then come back to Vanessa after.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. This was a very, very fun experience. So we hope we can repeat this very soon. Hopefully with better news. Hopefully with some results of the lobby that we are trying to do with immigration. Because believe us, we have been working on this for months. And I hope the next time we meet or do an exercise like this is with very good news. So thank you, guys.
Perfecto. Vanessa.
Thank you so much. It's been a great experience. We hope there's going to be another chance to continue talking this openly and help us send out the message. Immigration needs help. You know, it's what we want you to repeat. We commit to continue doing our lobby in front of all the governmental offices that needs to hear this message. But I'm pretty sure that every single help will be highly welcome, and we're here to help you.
Okay, Margarita.
Thank you very much, Pepito, for this time, to all the colleagues to be here, and be a little patient. In order to live in paradise, you will need a little bit longer on the wait. Be sure that we all are working for this to be, or to get a little bit easier. But yes, we are all working for the main goal, which is for all of you that wants to live here, that be able to do it, to apply, and to be approved a little bit faster. But the key to this, I would say, is get a great lawyer for this. Get an immigration lawyer, okay? Because it's not any lawyer can do it. And get an immigration lawyer. It doesn't matter which of them or others, but just get the specialist.
Perfecto.
Thank you very much.
Last but not least, Natalie.
Well, thank you, first of all. And I am pleased to share this live with all these professionals and for the public to the time that they have shared with us tonight. We are here to help you, so please be patient. You already know the situation from first hand. We have explained it. Do not hesitate to contact your lawyer to ask them for any information that you need. This is the situation, and we have been clear with you that we are facing in Costa Rica, but we are happy to welcome you here. This is a great country. This is just the bureaucracy that a lot of other countries have. And we are pleased to advise you anytime you need. So thank you for the opportunity and have a good night.
Okay, now we have Mariana. We lost you for a little while, Mariana.
Yes, I was here listening to everyone, but I don't know. I was out with my internet. It's not working. Thank you very much for the space, Pepito. Actually, this type of conversations that we can have, not with just one person, but with several colleagues that are in the same situation, that we're all on the same boat, trying to help our clients and foreigners to come to Costa Rica. Costa Rica, it's a beautiful, beautiful country. It's a great place to invest. And we have awesome beaches, awesome nature, great people, the pura vida that we speak. So please just be a little bit patient. It's not us, as you may have seen. It's unfortunately something that it's in the system, and that what we need to do is to try to get solutions as a team, not only on our side, but also on the side of immigration, and see that we're on the same thing, trying to help everyone. Thank you very much for the space, and have a good night.
Thank you, guys, for
Thank
fighting.
you, Pepito.
Thank you, Marcela. Thank you, everyone, and thank you
Thank
for
you.
all fighting for us.
Have a good
Pura
night.
vida.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Nice.
Bye.
Thank you.